I didn't know that this was a feud, but apparently this is now a feud. And it's wide receiver on wide receiver crime. Now, some would say that maybe it's something else, but again, that's not neither here nor there. So last night before the game, Steve Smith Sr., who is an analyst for NFL Network.
A flamethrower.
He was on the field, and he was doing his pregame report, and Jerry Jeudy of the Broncos walked by. And apparently there was some sort of interaction, some sort of back and forth, and Steve Smith Sr. explained himself on the air as to why there was a little bit of a contentious back and forth between him and Jerry Jeudy.
A short while ago, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was walking by, and Steve called out to him, and he got a different reaction.
I called out to him because on my podcast, Cut to It, I just talked about guys that maybe have not showed up in a way or in a manner. And so the word that I've used to describe him in the past was a jag, just a guy.
Just a guy.
And so when I saw him, he's playing well. I wanted to say to him face to face, like, hey, I know I said some things in the past I probably shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. That's what I wanted to say to him. His response, Mike Robb and Bucky, was ninja.
Ninja?
Yes, I'm using the word ninja. I'm just using the word ninja. I don't mess with you. And it was a curse word. And so I was like, all right. And then he repeated it. So I'll say it again. I'm sorry that I said you were a jag, just a guy who's an average wide receiver they use a first-round pick on that isn't doing anything. I hope today that you actually show up in a way that you haven't showed up in the last couple of years since they drafted you. So if you ever got a problem with Agent 89, I'm sorry for saying that you're an average wide receiver that they eventually will move on. And when teams call me and asking, should they trade for you, I will say no, don't trade for Jerry Jeudy, because he's mentally unable to handle constructive criticism from people who watch specifically, can he be a wide receiver? He could be a wide receiver. He's a tier 3. Go back into the studio. I'm done now. Thank you.
Ether.
Yeah, you want to hear Jerry Jeudy? You want to hear Jerry Judy's response?
Yeah.
Because Jerry Jeudy let him have it post-game.
Jerry, a little bit of drama before the game with Steve Smith Sr. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that right now.
Man, that was a tough loss, man. I feel like at the end of the game, I feel like we could have got there, but you know, they had a good drive at the end.
Jerry, Steve Smith said he had some kind of conversation with you before the game. Did that not go well, or based on what he said on air on NFL Network?
I don't remember that. You know, but like I said, you know, it was a close game. We just got to finish at the end of the game.
Oh, apparently. I mean,
Steve Smith will whoop his ass even to this day.
Oh.
I'm surprised, Steve. Like, that's very cool that Steve actually said, I'm offering an apology, because that ain't, if you know Steve, that ain't really Steve's MO. Yeah. Steve's MO is, you want to talk to Agent 89, you can find me wherever it is that I'm going to be. Wherever my 10 toes is down, you can find me there, and you can come see me with it. That's Steve Smith. Steve is growing. Like, he's maturing into a fine, older, young man out here, because I'll tell you, the old Steve Smith would have probably tried to lock up with him on the field.
Yeah, but Jerry Jeudy doesn't have to accept his apology.
No, he doesn't.
I mean,
he doesn't.
You know, and Steve Smith.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you don't have to have a derogatory response towards him either. You know, really, if you don't fool with Steve Smith and you don't like the criticisms that he lobbed by your way, which, by the way, I mean, how many catches did Jerry Jeudy have last night?
Yeah, 3.
What was his yardage?
14
yards.
Oh, okay. If you didn't like the criticisms, then you have every opportunity to, one, do exactly what you did in the post press conference sound bites, which is just ignore it, or do more. Like, you can change people's criticisms, because criticisms are on film. So if you put different film out there for critics and analysts to look at, then it changes the way you critique and analyze what's taking place.
Yeah.
So when he made it personal and called, and to everybody out there, culturally, if you don't know what ninja means, it's another way of saying the N-word without saying the N-word. So if I call you the whole, shinobi.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm an
I
idiot.
mean, I thought I was being complimented when someone called me that. I was like, yeah, I do feel kind of agile. I feel like I can sneak up on people.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if
I thought
that
Brady and I got that
that's
one
not
wrong.
what
That's
they
for
meant.
sure.
Well, I just figured I'd put you guys a little bit up on game on the fact that when he said he called
Now,
me a
do you
Shinobi.
feel like Judy took that personal?
He had to have taken it personal to say, you know, Shinobi, I don't mess with
it's
you.
personal.
You know, if you don't get away from me, Shinobi, you know what I mean? Like, he took it personal, and nobody wants to have a. Go ahead.
Did you guys see the video pregame? Like, I didn't really understand that. The article I saw about this, because I might be with everyone else here. I was like, where did this come from? I don't really understand why, like, anyone's mad at each other. Like, that's Steve Smith's job. He's paid to give his opinion. He's a tremendous receiver.
Be sensitive, man.
Well, then that's where I'm like, all right. Well, I mean, I wasn't really sure, like, how this all came about. But then there was like a video that was trying to confirm, like, yeah, Jerry Judy's like giving it to Steve Smith pregame. I'm like, I didn't hear anything that was in that video that he was saying anything back outside of apparently what Steve Smith said he said back to him.
Now, I do wonder if Jerry Judy's got a little bit of a red ass because Mark Schlereth also was critical of the wide receiver play in Denver.
Oh, he wasn't as forgiving as Steve Smith, and I don't foresee Mark. I don't feel like Stink is going to come out and issue an apology for what he said.
Yeah, he said, quote, I would cut both of those guys, talking about him and Cortland Sutton with the way that they played and not helping out Russell Wilson. He went on to say that Jerry Jeudy could not play on the teams I played on if his life depended on it. He's not tough enough. He's not focused enough. He's not good enough. He's not anything enough. He said he could not play on our teams. Mike Shanahan would cut him tomorrow. I would not have him on my team. So he laid into him.
He told that man he's not a professional for using Steve Smith.
And
he used Steve Smith's name. He said, you're not professional for doing that.
So then Schlereth went to Twitter and was like, 3 for 14. Love it when a dude who gets challenged by his, quote, old head haters rises up to the challenge. And yes, I'm talking about you, Jerry Jeudy. So maybe Jerry Judy's just a little defensive right now because he's catching strays from, great former NFL players in and around
by the
Denver.
way, like, two players that I know for a fact are watching the tape. It's not like guys are looking at a stat line and saying, oh, this is – like, they're watching tape.
Yeah.
They're watching what he's doing, what he's not doing. And I think both – just from knowing Mark, just from knowing Steve, like, they're well-researched. Like, they know what they're talking about. They're going to be the type of guys to be able to, like, give you, like, hey, this is not just what I see on film, but, like, I've talked to some other people, too. Like, if Mark's sitting there saying he's not focused, he's hearing that from someone within the building that knows that, too, that's seeing that, too, that's concerned about that for Jerry Jeudy. So if you're Jerry Jeudy, you really should take this more as a wake-up call.
Yeah, wake up, dog. Like, stop being so sensitive. These cats are so sensitive these days, man.
They take everything personal.
Like, why can't you be told? Like, bruh, in my day, like, I'll give you a great example. My rookie year, I came in out of shape. Brian Mitchell, first one see me, said, you look like you pregnant. You about 6 months about to have a baby.
Oh, he tried to make it personal.
Right? He did make it personal.
He made it personal.
And I didn't like that, and it drove me.
He made it personal.
And then I got into training camp, and I was having, like, anxiety attacks, couldn't really breathe and stuff like that, and it was just bad. And then, Bruce Smith was like, if you don't get your non-football playing ass up out of the way, get out of my way. Like, he was upset with me. Get out of the way. Hey, Turk, get him out. Right? If I'm sensitive, I fold my tent. I talk trash like I'm the number 2 overall pick. F you. Like, I got mine. Like I don't. You old. You washed up. Like, get out of my face, Bruce. I took that as incentive. I took that as motivation. Like, be motivated. If somebody, I've always wanted, my whole reasoning for feeling good about, and this is just personal, my whole reasoning behind going into the games and playing the game the way that I did is so that guys who played before me and guys that played with me, we had a mutual respect. By the time that game was over, or by the time you saw the film of me, when you're studying my film, you were like, that's a guy. Like what Steve Smith said, that's a guy. That dude right there, he's a game wrecker. He's an impact player. That's what I always wanted. So if somebody that I want to say good things about me doesn't say good things, and in fact says something that is not good, take that as a challenge, because we all been there. Like, we've all been there. I went on to go to 3 Pro Bowls after that year. Me and Bruce became the closest of friends. Like, we traveled together. Like, we sat in the same row together most times. Take it as a challenge. Like, stop being so goddamn sensitive about, even with social media and how you got all this. It goes 2 ways. You got one group of people that sit there and just gas you up, gas you, protect you, attack everybody who says anything. Then you have the other ones that say jump off of a bridge, kill yourself, do something crazy to yourself, and have just tremendous, vitriol towards you, like straight hate towards you.
My people.
It is what it is, man. Like, but if it's somebody that you can respect that has been there and has walked in the path and has had the journey that you're on, man, take it for what it's worth.